Hey everyone, welcome back to Hacky Lessons for a Red-Green Luffy deck profile. This profile is a follow-up of sorts to the video I did last, which was a deck diary about building this. So this deck is built around the ideas I talked about in that video. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Now, I'm finding this deck very fun, but unfortunately I wouldn't say it's top tier as much as I tried to make it so. It does do good against Green Kid, but I am finding it hard against Zoro. A lot of Robins and Jet Pistols really kind of hurt this deck a lot. This is more of a control-y build, so it kind of struggles against Rush. Let's get into it. So if you don't know what the leader does, he can pay 4 to activate main and set one of your Supernova or Straw Hat crew type characters with a cost of 5 or less back to active, and gains another 1,000 power for the turn. So the problem is that 4 Don is pretty expensive for this ability. 3 Don would be too cheap, to be honest, and 4 just feels a little too expensive. So with that in mind comes what I include in this deck. Most important counter to that problem is the 1000 Sunny, and I've got it at 4 copies. So I want to see it as soon as possible, put it on board, and then use it. And it is pretty useful in this deck, particularly. You sunny up whatever's going to attack, your character that's going to attack, and then when you restand it with Luffy, it's getting an extra value from that sunny. Really making up for the lack of Don to attach to it. The main attacking force in the deck is Zoro, starter deck Zoro. So instead of the Rush Zoro that just costs 3 and has 5,000 power, this one costs 3. You have to put it on board a turn before you can attack with it, but once you attach 1 Don to it, he gains an extra 1,000 power. So if you do that and include the Sunny on that, that makes him 8,000, and then the leader ability restands him, and then he's 9,000 for just 1 Don attached. I would like him at 4, but I needed to cut one in order to put in a 3rd copy of Rush Luffy. So Rush Luffy falls in the parameter of the leader to restand as well. The leader gets 5 costs or less, so you can use it on Luffy. But ideally, using it the turn after he's played, because Luffy costs 5, and then the leader ability costs 4, so you don't have enough Don to attach to him to make him unblockable if you want to restand him. Also rounding up the cards that can make use of the leader ability, 2 copies of Robin. I would like more, as always, but I needed to cut something, and Robin was sort of like only sometimes useful. 3 copies of Chopper. Chopper is a little bit more important because he can deal with these Sunnies clunking up my hand. Because I'm running 4 and I want so I can put it on board straight away. Once I do have one, if I draw any of the others, they're dead in hand. So Chopper can help me deal with that, and his ability is not once per turn, so if you restand him with the leader, you can do it twice. Get back a 2k counter or something like that. The 2-cost Luffy SR. This is useful because once you've paid 4 to restand your Zoro or your Rush Luffy, this Luffy can attach the 2 rested Don to himself and then still be a useful attack. Plus you can establish on board early because he only costs 2, so he can sit there ready to be used later on. For our searches, Nami, of course. A lot of Straw Hats in the deck. And 3 copies of Jewelry Bonnie, because there are some Supernovas as well. Luffy and Zoro, of course, plus a few extra. Blockers. 4 copies of Chopper. And 4 copies of Killer. Killer's cool if you get that draw ability off. And then there is 2 copies of Kid. This card could really help this deck a lot. It's probably worth running a 3rd copy. I have to adjust how I build this deck, but I feel like you want to see him, so maybe a 3rd copy would be good. 2k counters up now, and I did have like 6 event card counters, Guard Point and Radical Beam, but I was finding I didn't want to use any Don for them. Like, I want to use all of my Don during my turn, so I switched it over to having more 2k counters. So 2 of the promo Luffy. I only own 2, so if I had more, I would probably run more. And then 2 of the Sanji, which, Sanji's good, but he does come at a cost of a life if you're using him to attack. But he is good when you get to restand him if you've done that. Really depends on how hard your life is getting hit. 4 copies of Gordon. So this card is like extra chopper value. So if I can't get a chopper on board to get rid of the Sunny in my hand, this guy could help a little bit. You don't really want to play him because he is a 2k counter. But if you do, he has 3,000 power, so it's only going to take 2 Don to make him a worthwhile attacker. And then 4 copies of Otama. You really can't go past Otama because she can help with Jet Pistol. 3 copies of Jet Pistol. It's definitely worth running in any red deck. So that is the build. Like I said, it's not top tier. I'm finding it fun, but don't take it to Treasure Cup. Unfortunately, I think it does get better in set 2. You got the green Straw Hats. The green Straw Hats don't really get much value being restood by the leader, but what they can do is play your red Straw Hats, and that makes it a little bit easier to build a board. So what I've been finding the problem with this deck is getting that board built. Too many of the cards are very easy to remove, so it's not a flawless deck, unfortunately. I could keep working on it. There's ideas I have to change it up, but with Treasure Cup around the corner, it is probably time for me to stop messing around with jank and practice the deck that I'm going to be taking to that. I'm not entirely sure what deck I will take yet. I was pretty locked in with an idea, and now I'm starting to second guess it. So I need to lock that in. Anyway, in the next couple of weeks, I will be releasing some videos on the set 2 decks, just going through what the cards are, talking about how useful they are, what the archetypes are and everything. We'll be starting with the black navy decks and the purple film starter deck, as the purple film starter deck is the first thing to be released, so we'll talk about that. And then after that, we'll talk about some Straw Hats and so on. I'll see you guys later. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see all that.